Tax deadlines can be a very busy and often stressful time of the year, but with the Syft Analytics tax review functionality, we can proactively complete a lot of the work prior to tax season to ensure that the process is as seamless as possible. The first step would be to identify which of our clients will require the biggest time investment come tax season, and to do so we'll use the oversight feature within Syft Analytics. I'd recommend going and building out a custom view by clicking on Add View at the top of the screen, and this will allow us to focus in on all the tax data across our entire client base. By clicking Start from Scratch, the first metric I'd recommend adding would be your sales tax chart of accounts. Simply click Add, and Syft will ask you to name this view so that you can always refer back to it for any future tax periods. We now have our first metric inputted, but we can go and incorporate a lot more information into this oversight view. By clicking on Add Column on the left-hand side and then clicking into Review, we can go and bring in a bunch of different metrics to help us easily identify problematic clients. My first recommendation would be to add any contacts that have multiple tax codes assigned. Now this is very unlikely to occur, but a nice easy way to start identifying any potential issues within our tax data from zero. If you scroll further down the page, you'll notice that there's also 3 sections here that are specifically focused on the tax data within Syft Analytics. Simply click on all 3 of those and click Add. And now we have all the metrics we need to easily identify a client to start with. Don't forget to save this view so you can always come back to it in future. The first client that stands out to me would be Andrew's Bakery, and we can quite easily navigate into that data by clicking on the name of the client on the left-hand side. We can navigate into the review section within Financial Close and into the Data Quality Scorecard. This will now show us all the anomalous data Syft has identified within the Xero file. As I mentioned earlier, the easiest place to start would be with contacts that have multiple tax codes assigned. Now essentially what this will tell us is any contacts raised in Xero that perhaps have 2 different or multiple tax codes assigned to their transactions. For example, if I look at Aladdin, I can see that the expected tax code is the standard rate of sales, and there are 34 transactions that have no tax associated. By clicking on this little arrow, we can then dive into the transactions to see exactly what's going on, and then go back to Xero to go and clean up this data. The second section we can dive into is the tax section down here at the bottom, and we can dive into the overall tax review capability. This will indicate to you whether you have over-declared or under-declared tax for this period, and is broken out by the accounts and the differences at the top of the screen. What could also be really helpful if you do have a particularly problematic tax client is by diving into the tax report section here on the left-hand side and identifying the tax allocations by account, code, source, currency, or value. And a nice trick is if you navigate to the multi-period section at the top of the screen and toggle this onto percentage, we can see the percentage tax allocation to every single account we have. As you can see, the expected default rate is 15%, and anything that does not consistently match that figure could be cause for concern. Just by diving into 3 different sections of Syft, we've already started our tax review process so we can proactively clean up this data and make tax season a lot more enjoyable.